welcome back. We are playing The Between, Darkened Mirrors, episode 11. Hmm. So, we're actually going to start by looking at the threats, just to see where we're at the moment, and then we will look at the hunters, and I believe the hunters have masks of the past to relate, okay? So, the threats that are currently on the board: St. Petersburg Mirror. You have, looks like 6 clues for, well, I mean, it's a matter of choice, really. I mean, to decide whether you want to answer the complexity 4 question, another complexity 4 question, and then or a complexity 6. And then there's, of course, the is the St. Petersburg Mirror genuine, which is a complexity 2. So that one is outside of resolving the threat completely, but if you do answer it in a particular way, then you could get the mirror as a reward. And then Limehouse Lurker. That one's fairly new. That one answered the question, is the vampire young or old? So you guys answered old. And if it is old, where is the vampire's nest? Complexity 4, and you currently have 3 clues on the board. All right. And then finally, our newest threat, the monochromatic men of 3 Mills Island. 3 clues on the board, and the choice of a complexity 6 or complexity 8 to resolve the threat. All right, so that's what we got on the table. As we reach into this new phase. Okay, and then looking at the hunters, we do not have our Americans player tonight. Bob is traveling, so wish him safe travels, and we will see him for next session. But in the meantime, our explorer, Lord James Campbell-Hughes, has 3 conditions: losing his patience, palpitating heart, and a close call with Scotland Yard. Whoosh. Factotum has 2 conditions: otherworldly surveillance and adventure mentor. And the legacy has 2 conditions: challenge accepted and family visit. Alrighty, so yeah, this is what we're looking at for everybody. I believe we closed off with a night phase last time. Excuse me, dawn phase last time. So we will be starting off day. But before we do, let's go ahead and have each of the hunters narrate their masks of the past. So remember how it goes. Just let us know what the prompt is for your mask, and then go ahead and narrate. Okay? Whoever wants to go first.
I suppose I can go first here. This is Whitmore's second mask of the past. Narrate a flashback to your young adulthood before you were a servant that shows what a charmed life you lived. And so our ever-present camera would be flying through the streets of London, the outskirts, near a quaint row of small single-family homes, the kind of starter home that you would expect a young married couple to be in. We pan in to a simple mailbox, done up in the Queen's red with black text on it: Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore. The camera would continue up the sidewalk, and we'd hear the birds chirping. We'd see a beautifully trimmed rose bush, pink with bright, brilliant flowers. And yet lurking beneath that rose bush, the ever-present thorns. One of them glistens in the sunlight as the camera passes it. We don't go through the front door, rather through an open window, where we can hear a few sounds of a happy home, the clicking of knitting needles, going at a rather steady pace, as we can see a young woman, brown hair, green eyes. The thing that she's knitting is covering a slightly bulging belly. She is smiling and whistling a simple tune. We can also hear the click and clack of mixing utensils in the kitchen. And as the camera continues to follow us, we see Whitmore whistling the exact same tune as his wife, baking. We hear a chime indicating that the oven is ready. And we can see Whitmore gradually pouring muffins into a muffin tin. He kisses one of them. "For you, my darling," he says, before kissing a second, and for our unnamed guest, as he smiles and puts the tray in the oven. The couple is happy as Whitmore takes a seat beside her. She stops her knitting, and their hands intertwine, fingers laced together. Whitmore sighs, looks her in the eyes, and as they lean towards each other for a kiss, the camera suddenly backs out very quickly, and we don't actually get to see them kiss.
This is a Mask of the Past for the Legacy, and the prompt is narrate a flashback to your early teenage years where you tried to live a normal life, but a family member put you in your place. So I think we see Victor in the woods somewhere. There is a light snow falling, and he just has his head in his hands, leaning against a tree, like groaning slightly to himself. And then at a certain point, this teenage girl walks up to him. Both of them look like people who are being trained to fight monsters. But this teenage girl has a resemblance to Melody. Melody. And she just goes, "Victor, get up. It's your turn. You have to get in there again." And he just goes, I can't anymore. But I can't do it. I've been drinking all night, and I just can't do it again this one time. All right, I think I'm good. I have a mission tomorrow. I shouldn't even be here. But, I have to go. And the teenage girl goes, "But Victor, you're gonna be fighting her." "What do you mean? Like her, you know, the one. Like she also made it to the fight. Like you two are the last bout. It would be so if you was out now, everyone is gonna remember it. All the wards, all the scions, even all the retainers, they're all gonna remember it." She goes, her, like her, like her. It's like, yes. And we see him walk a couple paces forward into this like well-lit, almost like camp bonfire almost, but very similar to the church in the Shoreditch Lugger. There's just like a group of people around cheering as Victor walks back up. And now we see Victor in a better light. He's like bruised up. There's a couple of cuts here and there. And we just see him walk into what is clearly like a fight circle. And there is this girl with like fiery red hair talking to clearly a younger version of Rosicrucius. And both of them are like talking, seem to be like game planning almost. And then Rosicrucius goes to the center of this, the center of these teens, and then Victor gets given two, like training daggers, or like wooden, and the girl with the red hair gets this like short sword that's also wooden. And then Rosicrucius goes to the center and goes, all right, everyone, this is the final bout of the night. We all know how this works. First person to take down their opponent 3 different times wins. But every time you win, you have to take a large flagon of ale. So let's see how long it takes this time. And then Victor walks up nervously. The teenage girl in front of him goes, hey, Dagger Boy, are you ready to go? And then it cuts from there. We see Victor waking up, stressed out, and then running onto a horse. And then the horse speeding through the countryside until he reaches home, where he sees his mother looking very disappointed. And then we cut back to that dungeon-like room with the dead body and Victor begging to not have to do what his mother's asking of him.
Okay, mine is also a Mask of the Past, and it's from the perspective of the boy from the land of the Fae, which I believe we have established his name, Caraborn. And the prompt is narrate a flashback to when your village suffered an atrocity at the hands of the explorer. How did you help inflict this atrocity? After the Beltane festival was over, we rallied ourselves for the coming of the Unseelie court. We knew they would be coming to take what was rightfully theirs, but we had no intention of just handing it over to them. This time, our elders hid it deep in the crystal caverns where reflections and intense light would prevent them from ever finding it. It was foolproof, but it was all for naught. My village of Castrax was surprised. No, they were outraged that Lord James brought in iron ingots to deliver the shadows, to dull the lights and diminish the reflections, so that Veldspar the Grim could easily take the Seelie stone from the crystal cavern. The village was even more stunned, even more outraged when they found that it was I who helped Lord James get past the puzzle gate and ultimately delivered my people into the Unseelie court. Lord James promised everything would work out for the better. He lied.
Thank you. All right, so we enter into day phase. 3 active threats on the board. No new threats will be presented. And regular scenes commence. As we saw, there's a ton of conditions on the board. So yeah, whomever's vice is being used in the scene is probably the one most likely to frame it up. And that would be the person that would get the choice of the bonus. But both hunters involved in the vulnerable scene, of course, would clear conditions. Okay? Clear a condition each. Unless, with Whitmore, that, you know, he activates his custom move. So, we'll go through that when it comes up. But anyway, whomever would like to frame up a vulnerable scene first. Yep.
I'd like to have a brief moment with Lord Campbell-Hughes. If it's all right with you, Daniel, using the Vice of Adventure novels.
Yeah, I'm pretty stocked up with conditions. So after that, I wouldn't mind working out with Victor, if you're okay with that, Victor, or having Victor over. I've got something I want to talk to Victor about, so either your vice or mine, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. After your scene, we can figure that out. Sounds good.
I just want to point out that there will be Melody still in the house, and I think Rosicrucius would be around, so there might be a brief scene, brief scene or scenes interspersed between the vulnerable. So just want to make a mention of those 2 guests.
So given the abundance of guests, Lord James Campbell-Hughes would actually be probably out of the ordinary, but not unexpected, for Whitmore to invite you to the kitchen as he's preparing breakfast for a very probably hungover Doc, Melody, and the rest of the group. Whitmore would be at the moment probably cracking eggs into a bowl, whisking them together, probably to make a quiche, given the number of people in the house. The oven going, and he would ask Lord James Campbell-Hughes a very simple and innocuous question. Do you have an autobiographer? Or a biographer?
Well, I don't like to, I'm a humble man. But I've had a couple of autobiographers, depending on which expedition I went on. There's one gentleman who did the early days, back when I was Queens College, and was on the cricket team and things of that nature that some people find interesting to read. I don't have time for such things, but I'm willing to, sit down with an author to talk about, my trials and tribulations.
In that case, I'll make a mental note to see about picking one of those up at the store for the library for the sake of posterity. But the real reason I asked would be, would you be willing to allow me the honor of writing your story here at Hargrave House? The adventures against the unnatural on behalf of Her Majesty.
Maybe, down the road, we have to wrap up a few things. The story has not been told at this point. Whitmore, we're sort of in the midst of a great threat upon the city and the crown that Victoria wears upon her head. Darkness is aligning against us, and I don't know if now would be the time, but surely it'd be great to, looking back years from now and talking about, hey, that time that Doc and I chased vampires down the alleys of East London. I don't know if anybody would believe them.
It does not matter if anyone believes them, but it would be good sitting there, the two of us drinking gin, looking back at the old times, Lord Campbell-Hughes and Whitmore.
It would help me be more of a reflective practitioner of hunting the evil and the occult that threatens London. So it's not a bad idea, old boy. I think it would help me slow down and gather my thoughts, and as we plan our next big caper.
I will then see about getting note-taking supplies ready, and if you've got perhaps a quiet moment one evening, just the two of us sitting and talking.
Oh, we'll have to bring in Victor and Doc to get their perspectives. I don't know all the stories that Hargrave House has to tell.
I was thinking it could be a bit more of a personal tale of your exploits, something that the Royal Explorers Club would be proud to keep on their shelves.
I don't know if I'd be comfortable doing that, Whitmore.
I see.
Got to give credit where credit is due.
We can certainly invite Doc and Victor. Now, was there anything specific you wanted in your quiche this morning? I do have the bacon, just as you've requested.
No, that sounds delightful. Our guests should appreciate the work that you've put into it this morning.
with that, I believe the quiche would go in the oven.
Okay. So, looking at conditions, Lord James Campbell-Hughes, which do you think that you'll be able to release?
Losing his patience.
Yeah. I think Whitmore's trying to slow you down a little bit, sir. Alrighty. And then Whitmore, what do you think?
It always helps to unmute before speaking. I would like to clear Adventure Mentor.
Okay.
As I feel that that's more along what we've discussed.
Okay.
And then since my vice was used in a vulnerable scene with me, I'd like to go over my custom move
Yeah,
and
please.
activate at least a small portion of it.
Okay.
Um,
Please read it out.
Whitmore's custom move: more than a housekeeper, a confidant. I have added Lord James Campbell-Hughes' vice as a secondary vice for Whitmore. After completing a vulnerable move with another hunter, the hunter whose vice is used may select both options when taking the vulnerable move, so both stumbling upon a clue and asking the other hunter a question about their past. When another hunter performs a vulnerable move with myself, they may clear a second condition if that condition comes from internal emotions, and I may no longer take the move Hargrave House Informals.
I inflicted that limitation because I felt that this move is just very involved in the affairs and the concerns of those at Hargrave House. So he will have no time to, be out and about with informals. So, yeah. What's your other conditions, do you think?
So,
Yeah, I don't.
close call with Scotland Yard does not, as it's an external force.
Yeah.
Palpitating Heart would be Lord James Campbell-Hughes's call, and your call.
I don't think it would. I think that's more of a.
That's a physical condition.
Yeah, that's a physical condition.
Yeah.
So, in that case, I will be adding a clue, probably to the monochrome men of Three Mills Island.
Go ahead and add a TBD to that for you, and then you would be
And
able
then
to.
I would like to ask Lord James Campbell-Hughes a question about his past.
Or do I get to ask you the question?
Yeah, that's the bonus. It's like, so whoever's vice it is, you invite the other hunter
person
to ask you a
yes.
question about your past.
So in that case.
So yeah, I think Lord Campbell-Hughes would,
yes.
Before he leaves the kitchen, he would say, I've never asked Whitmore. I never really had a chance to inquire about your cooking skills. Where did you develop these?
They sort of came up of necessity. As I'm sure you're aware, given how we met, I was married for enough time to learn a few things about my wife, namely that she could burn anything. Quite literally. I think the only thing she could just about make was oatmeal, and that's partially because you can't burn water. So it fell on me to do all of the cooking, and I suppose that's how I showed my love to her, through what I could do that she could not.
Sorry for laughing, but I mean, you don't burn water, but you can definitely burn pots when you forget about the water boiling on the stove. So I've seen people do that. It's gross. All right. Very cool. All right. I'm gonna say that like a little bit at time after this is happening, I think Melody might make it, or actually no, you know what? Like let's do the fun one. I think Victor, if you're coming out of your room or you're coming out of your wherever you're training or whatever, or you're heading there, I think you'll hear like the from a nearby room. Ah,
I hide. I hide.
ah,
I go back into my room.
Whittles, Whittles, where are you? Oh God, this brain, needs some victuals and some drink to stave off this awful ah
A better idea, Whitmore would say, popping up out of nowhere. Tea and quiche.
quiche.
Yes.
Is that what they eat here in the civilized lands, I guess?
I do have a raw hunk of bacon left if you'd prefer that.
Yeah, well, admittedly, I seem to like cooked things these days. Oh, please close the curtains. Oh, that's awful.
Whitmore would move in to close the curtains.
Ah, yes. And he's like blinking. I mean, his hair is just like so fashionably mussed along like his face, like not combed, but I mean, it still looks great. And he's not wearing a shirt, and it looks like, his clothes are all over the damn place. So God knows if he's wearing anything underneath the covers. But he'll kind of like yawn and go, Whittles, where's my cousin this morning?
Before we get to that matter, what did you say my name was?
Whittles, yes?
Whitmore.
Oh, Whitmore, not less. Whitmore, okay.
Yes.
Yes, all right. Okay. I got it.
We'll see if
Whitmore.
you remember that when your hangover passes. As for Victor, he left me a note this morning.
Yes.
That he was actually going to be heading out very early. I haven't even prepared a breakfast for him, Whitmore would say, lying through his teeth.
Oh, that's a shame. I really needed to speak with him. Do you think he'll be back for the morning?
I imagine he will be. Let me go check on his room. I can leave a small note for him so that he'll know to check in with you.
Actually, let me write a note, and like if there's any kind of like paper or whatever by the side of the bed, he's just gonna kind of grab it, and with like half eyes and like hair in his face, he's gonna like scribble something out. And I think from your position, I think you can see like big bold letters, of course, like the flourish of his signature and such. But he's going to say, like, you're going to get the notion of one name that stands out from the scribbles that he writes, as well as his own name, like signed off on the bottom in his flourish. But the name that he writes is Radamintha before he folds up the note and hands it to you. If you will be a good man, Whitmore, and hand that to him and make sure he gets it, just in case I happen to be already sidled out of here, like working on that case. Monochromatic men, people of 3 Mills, yeah, that thing. Let me get dressed. Oh my goodness, it's like. And you hear like distinct like cracks coming from him as he stretches and does his thing. And yeah, you can see his muscles rippling across his body. And yeah, please make sure he gets that when he comes back, just in case I'm already gone. I really need to speak with him. Yes.
Whitmore will leave the room hastily and knock once on Victor's door before entering.
I think as you like turn the hallway, Victor's just there already, and she's like, I can take the note. It's fine.
You did ask me to run interference.
Yes. I just needed coffee before I saw him. I'll see him later. It's fine. But you can give me the note. We can. Thank you for that. It's very nice. Thank you.
Does he always have a brazenness with his body?
Like,
Well, he
is he
was
always
very naked.
unclothed?
Yes,
Yeah.
especially given that we have a female house guest this morning as well.
Yes, I forgot exactly why he started to sleep in the nude. I think it was either a curse put onto him by some magic person, or I think he feels like it heals his like inner stuff more with the, if he doesn't have, the less layers he has, the more he is interacting with the environment around him. It's a, I either way, it's, I think he's making it up, but
I can at the very least say all of his inner beauty definitely was on full public display.
yes.
And Whitmore would head down to the kitchen to finish preparing breakfast for the rest of the late sleepers.
Yeah, and I put the note in my pocket. I can do the scene with Lord Campbell-Hughes.
I think this is like an exercise montage, maybe.
Mhm.
And Lord Campbell-Hughes would be wearing like what was essentially like army fatigues back then, which is just like wool trousers, and then like a wool sack coat with shiny breast buttons on it, and maybe a towel or something to dry his hands off as he's punching a punching bag.
Yes.
And good morning, Victor.
Oh, it's not very, you're usually at the Explorers Club by now. It's not, do you do morning workouts now, Lord Campbell-Hughes?
Unlike you, Victor, I am but a mere mortal man. And at the Explorers Club, we don't really have a gymnasium. We do have a small candlepin bowling alley that
Yes.
we didn't really get a lot of use out of. But anyways, in my nocturnal jaunt with Doc last night, I started feeling the limitations of my age as we chased through the alleys of East London. What sort of calisthenics do you do?
Oh, me? You, yes. Yes, keep the, yes, keep your legs, feet apart. That's it. Yes. If it really depends on whatever we are fighting. Usually you train for the thing you're chasing down. You mind holding the bag for me real quick?
I'm leaning into it, Victor.
Yeah, and you like jump off your feet a couple of times. Yeah, I did a lot of bag work when the slugger was still the one we were going after. Felt we used to be good to keep up with the pugilism during that time. But now, what is it now? I think we have ruffians, a vampire, and a colorful people is what's on the docket.
Yes, and that brings me to something I wanted to discuss with you, Victor. Besides physical health, your cousin who's staying here, what's his name? Rosicrucis.
Yep, that is close enough. That's good enough for me.
Is he an ally? Is he helping us with the monochromatic men?
As far as I know, well, like as much as he makes me wish I was anywhere else but here, I do trust him. We're growing, like, after you grow up, surviving as many scrapes as we have, even though he annoys me greatly, I would always trust him in a fight. And this is a fight of sorts, just more complicated with a lot more steps.
Well, I hope he's able to help us on that most bizarre case. Any help, as long as you trust him, I trust him.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Is there you are, and all your allies there, we're good, right? I've seen a couple of them come through now from the REC. Like, are they all on the level?
Oh yes, we share our commitment to the crown, to civilization, advancing our way of life across the planet, helping those who can't help themselves.
All right. As long, I mean, like, if it so happens one of them betrays us, we'll be fine, I think. None of them are like secretly monster, like from the
no,
just regular
no.
people.
And to be quite honest with you, Victor,
Yes.
most of them are in worse shape than me, and I have
Perfect.
heart palpitations.
Hey, that's not great. The amount of monsters you would be surprised that can just make your heart palpitate too. It's and just by a single look, it's amazing. You'd think it's like an evolutionary thing, I guess.
No, the REC, we get all of our power comes from experience and wealth. So
both incredibly useful, I would have to say. And I think you asked me a question, right? Because it's my, or do you want a clue?
it's up to you.
Oh, you're right. I think, yeah, I'll take a clue for the St. Petersburg Mirror. And I think Victor will say it's interesting. I've been looking into those that extortion racket. Extortion? No, it's not extortion. It's blackmail ring. That's it. That's the one. One of these men I saw, I could swear I've seen them before, and I believe that they may have been seen in the REC, not as one of your members, but, or maybe, I don't know, but I've seen them around your building, compound, club.
What was their name? Did you catch their name?
No, I just saw do you guys have like a pin or something?
Secret handshake, lapel pin.
Yeah. It's like, no, there was this pin on his lapel.
That's most interesting. I will check into it today.
All right, sounds good. Do you have any more gin? I believe I'm gonna need a lot of gin today for what I have to do.
Do I have? I see that you've not been to the C wing of Hargrave House.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look on the I believe it's the third floor. It's quite a stash.
Yes.
Next to the fire extinguishers.
Is there one I can? Which one is the one you would least likely miss out of them?
Victor, you're my guest. You go right ahead. Take whatever you need.
Perfect. Good. Wonderful form. Keep it up. In 10 years, you should be a good fighter by then.
I'll be 70 years old, Victor.
Age is but a number. And then, yeah, I think he will go grab the gin.
Conditions. Lord James Campbell-Hughes. Victor, what do you think you can release for the vulnerable scene?
I'll take family visit just because Victor, after all the talks with his friends, has his like emboldened in his interactions with his family.
Right. Okay. All right. And it looks like you, well, talked about the palpitating heart. I mean, like, sounds like you're working it off. You're like, working on your cardio. All right, great. Okay. And, yeah. And I think by the time that you head over to the C Wing 3rd floor of Hargrave House, I think out of one of the guest rooms, I think Melody will come out. She seems to have she found like a dressing gown from someplace, like all the different rooms and such. And there have been female hunters in Hargrave House before, and there will, I'm sure, be again. And she just comes out and says, "Oh, Victor, hello."
Melody, I've been I haven't had a chance yet, but I've been wondering why you're at the at Hargrave House. That was quite a surprise.
Yes, well, I met with Mr. Whitmore. He actually came to see me at my shop.
Oh,
And he said that he wanted to pay me for the time that I was helping at the party the other night.
yes.
And then
Oh.
we got to talking. I brought him over to
And-
my
and you're-
flat to talk. And then
Oh,
he said he had one of the adventure novels of
You both are into adventure novels?
yes.
Oh.
It's a little vice of mine. But
Mm,
he seemed to be very receptive, and
Yes.
I had something that he wanted to look at, and then he told me about a book that he had, and I had to come over and see it, and well, we just got to talking and into the early morning, and
into the early morning?
I'm here, yeah. What we were just discussing the story, and
Yes.
yes,
Oh.
I've never been out much, so
Yes. Oh. And like how was it? Was it a good date, or was it
what?
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 It's
No,
not, you weren't. Oh,
no, we were talking about
I mean, Whitmore's very
books.
it's a good looking. No?
Uh,
It's very
well,
charming.
Yes, no, he
Yes.
is. Yes,
Yes.
but we were talking about the book.
And you're both
Looks-
single. I mean,
What?
I mean,
Are you trying to be a matchmaker?
No, I'm not. No. You're
I
saying
mean-
trying to be you're the one saying that, not me.
Well, you said date. You said
Yes.
being together. Well, I'm
It just
sorry.
it just sounded like a date. But I guess it's not. It didn't have to be. Could have been like a meet cute of sorts.
I'm sorry. Were you thinking about?
What? What were you thinking about?
I.
Are you part of Hargrave House now? Are you joining?
Well, considering it's like the only thing to my name is a small collection of adventure novels and your knife, which is back at my flat, by the way. I'm sorry, you didn't take it back, and
No,
you were
it's fine, I
busy
have
working on
plenty.
your.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Yes, it's fine.
Considering those few,
There's vampires
Assets.
out there. You should keep it.
good to know. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Well, it's good to yes. There's not really initiation process, or I don't really know. It's just like we usually just show up at Hargrave, and then we kind of just there's an agreement that it's I guess. If you're ready for it, if you feel like you're up to it's like go just. Are you not? Am I misunderstanding what's happening?
I just seem to find myself in different situations. Maybe I
Oh.
should go back
Mhm.
to my shop.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
It was
no,
just-
it's fine.
Interesting to run into you. Yes.
Yes. Hey, it was crazy because I came back and I was like, wow, Melody's here. I know that heartbeat anywhere. Um,
You know
hmm?
my heartbeat?
Everyone has a different heartbeat. It's pretty normal. So
You are
um,
quite fascinating, you know that?
hmm?
You are quite fascinating.
Oh, thank you.
I can see why your fiance appreciates you.
Um, not at this moment in time. If
Is
she
she still
saw me
angry
right,
at you?
I left it, and by it I do mean like like we were fighting and I kind of just left, which is never, and just ran all the way to London. Um,
You
that was a
should
choice I made. That was a choice I made,
you should
and
talk to her.
yeah,
She
yeah,
she deserves to have a discussion. You ran away?
I didn't run away. There
You
was
just said you
some
ran away.
No, that was like it's like metaphorically I ran away. I had to hide. It had to be quick, it had to be efficient, but I wasn't running most of the time. Um as much like as much as I can find people who are just in the house, she can also do that. So it takes a lot of you kind of have to get your heartbeat really low so it's really quiet.
It sounds like you are running away.
I was running away, you're right. Uh
Yes. Um,
yeah.
perhaps maybe before the bridge becomes, or the gap becomes too wide to bridge, perhaps maybe you should, I don't know, start with a letter and see if she's willing to talk, maybe.
All right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm
No, it's
getting
just No,
in
it's fine.
such
Hey,
business. I
you're
apologize.
already like Whitmore does the helps us with this kind of stuff too, and you're good at this stuff. So yeah, if you like, you don't have to fight the monsters. Sure, Whitmore also fights the monsters with us, but you don't have to.
I wasn't aware until today that there were
Yes.
any true monsters to fight.
Oh,
Wonderful.
weren't you at the play? Haven't you seen?
Do-
I thought we
those were
knew.
monsters? I thought that
And
was a play. That we were watching a
oh,
play of
yeah, but it was
people.
from otherworldly. It was a whole
Uh,
thing. Yeah, the dinner. Weirdly enough, the dinner party was actually our way of like defeating the play.
interesting.
Hmm. Yeah,
Well, the canapes were wonderful.
they were.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Um. All right. Well, good.
I'm
Good.
going to get
Good to see you
dressed.
around. Good to see you around.
Yes. See
Yes.
you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. And she will go back into her room and get dressed to leave. And then I think you'll hear from a distant room. It's like, oh, is Victor back?
Victor makes a big sigh and heads off in that direction.
And I think by the time you get to the room that Rosicrucius had commandeered, I think he will be mostly dressed. I think he decided to forego his shirt and just kind of like put the jacket on, so he's bare chested, but he's got pants on. Yay. And he's putting on his boots. Ah, cousin, how are you?
Cousin.
Stretching by the window, showing off his chest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have a big day ahead of us. We have to
Yes.
look at, yeah, there's the bodies that are single colored bodies or something.
Yes, it's quite strange.
All right. Well, are you good to go? Because we can knock this out today. All right, we
Yes,
can get
yes,
this
we
going.
really should, absolutely.
Yes.
And
Yep.
as he gets close to you, but actually, there was one little thing that I needed to talk to you about. I don't know if you got the note that I gave to.
You got this. I believe in you. Come on. We only have it's not like we are in our regular abodes where there's multiple servants. We have the one. You can do this. Cousin, dig deep. Dig deep. You've
He looks like
remembered
he's getting a
whole
migraine from
yeah.
like not getting over his hangover yet. Wise little.
All right, we should go. We should head out. We should head out.
No, before we go, and he's got one big arm around you and the other one on your chest. Listen, the other reason that I was here, and I wasn't going to say anything in front of the gang that you were, well, beating up last night. Radamintha asked me where you were.
Did you tell her where I was?
No.
Is that like a no or like a no?
It's, no? I didn't say outright. I didn't say, yes, he's over in Hargrave House in Belgrave Square. I didn't say that.
All right. Well, I mean, she was going to show up at some point. So,
she knows you're
yes.
here in the city. Yes.
Yes.
She wanted to know why you left. And I just couldn't say a thing.
Because it's very complicated.
Is it? What is wrong? You're both Armstrongs. You're both hunters. You're both skilled at what you do.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, and even me with my quite discerning taste can say that you two belong together. Yes. Why?
Cousin, it's very complicated. I can't get into it right now. But I will just let you know that I still love her very much. And that didn't change because I ran away in the middle of the night. And by run, I mean stealth. It's not really running. You can't really run that quick. But
you can call prey a prey. I mean, she's not happy.
Yeah. Yes. I feel really bad. All right. If that makes things better, I feel really bad that I left. But we were just having argument about something, and yeah, I just needed to go.
It couldn't have been that bad.
It wasn't
Whatever
bad.
It was.
Oh.
Whatever it was.
Okay.
Just let's just put it this way, and this is where he will kind of tighten his burly arm on you just a little bit more. Let's put it this way. The training dummies that are back on our estate. Yes. There's no more training dummies at our estate.
Those were new. No, those were we got those this year.
No. There's no more. And you know whose fault that is? Not mine.
Yes.
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 She is really upset.
Those are specially made from just the really good trees that don't break as easily. And they're just
Victorious. She is upset.
Yes.
And then this is where he will release you and just kind of clap you on the chest. And then, I should go see about that breakfast that Whitmore, yes.
Yes.
Whitmore had made.
Yes.
Spot of tea before we head out and handle this case.
Yeah.
And then he looks behind him over his shoulder at you. And you can deal with my sister.
Yes.
And with that, unless anybody else wants to do any more vulnerable scenes, you each have one condition left. But if you don't want to, that is perfectly fine. So again, the 3 threats are all active on the table, and you can continue to investigate for this day phase. All right, so investigations can commence, and then we will continue until I decide to move on to dusk. All right, and again, just as a reminder, threats cannot be resolved during this particular phase. All right, let's find out what each person wants to do for the remainder of day phase. Okay, so Lord Campbell-Hughes, what would you like to investigate?
I would like to go to the REC to talk to Sir Anthony about the St. Petersburg Mirror. And I would also, I think I said this during the night phase to Whitmore, I think I'm going to have to get Hargrave House fortified against the mastermind. So that's General Herzog. I can't remember what the general's.
That sounds about right.
Herod Flaspleet Mogg. So having him beef up our security while Sir Anthony Reese Wood is on the St. Petersburg mirror case. That's my plan.
Okay. Mog. Oh my gosh. Sorry, just like realized it's like tying in a clue with the last name. May not be a tie, but it's just kind of fun to figure it out with a different mystery. So, all right, great. Sorry. So REC. Victor, what would you like to do?
I think knowing that probably Ross would like to go to this place. The Sanguine Sister of Joshua Cross, is that a place I can go to, or is just like, or is that just generally Three Mills Island? Because I just wanted to like investigate.
Oh, absolutely. Let me check.
Yeah. Yeah. It's on like the intra. I don't know if that's an actual place or not. But just basically like just go to Three Mills and start investigating like where the bodies were found was the idea.
Oh, the Sanguine Sister of Joshua Cross was like one of the people that was found.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. So, yeah, the mills. I mean, like
Yeah,
Three
yeah,
Mills
yeah.
Island has mills on it, so yeah, it's basically.
Yeah.
And
we'll head there.
there's also, I think, on the island itself, it has a mortuary that you can take a look at for sure.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, so and then I'm sure Ross is coming with you. So, and then Three Mills, and then Whitmore. Where are you going?
That is the debate of whether or not we leave the Limehouse lurker to sit uninvestigated. I don't believe we do. I believe that Whitmore will probably head back down to the Limehouse area. So we've already looked for traces to the vampire's nest. We've gone after ruffians. Probably go talk to some of the relatives or neighbors of the victims.
Let's see.
Unless there's a specific area we have not been to, or a specific location we have not been to.
We were outside of the school workhouse thing for kids, but we never went in.
No, because it was nighttime. Yep. So you were outside of the workhouse school. Doc had gone to the Dog and Whistle. There's also the canal dock, because one of the victims was a sailor that had worked there. And then there's also, of course, the opium den, which you have already been to as well.
In that case,
And visited someone new.
as much as I'm interested in the canal dock, I feel like Whitmore would more so go to the schoolhouse.
Okie doke.
Yeah, Whitmore's going to go to the Limehouse School and Workshop.
We
Okay.
would have warned you that we suspect that the vampire's hiding out there with the kids.
Whitmore would make sure that he brings at least one clove of garlic with him. It's not in the personal quarters of anyone, but
Fictional positioning,
Yes.
I'm great. It's fine. I mean, hell, you could have been just like, like going out to the market, like on your way to Limehouse. It's fine too. All right, great. I think we're settled in, and then, Melody has breakfast, and then wishes you a good day and a fine adieu, and thanks you very much again for letting her come and see the book that you were talking about. And she kind of gives you this eyeball of, I had run into Victor this morning, and he was acting quite strange.
he tends to do that around his family. I'm not quite sure, but I don't believe he's at ease amongst his own family. It's
Family?
quite Rasha Crucius is his cousin. He was staying here last night.
The Rosicrucius? In the book?
The books, yes. Let me go see if he's still in.
No,
I'm
no,
sure-
no, 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 I can't possibly. No, I'd look a fright. I mean, no, it's fine. I'm going to go and
Absolutely.
enjoy my weekend, I suppose. Maybe I'll open up my shop and do some inventory.
Please make sure that you enjoy yourself.
I
Get out.
will.
Get out. I'm told that there are some lovely pelicans down at the lake or down at St. James Park.
Ooh. Maybe I will. Sounds like something more relaxing than what Victor proposed was
It
being
usually
involved in
is.
monster hunting. I mean, oh my.
Yes, he does have some interesting ideas of fun.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again, and again,
course.
stop by my shop when I'm open.
Of course.
And then
Oh.
she goes, and then I think as soon as you close the door for her leaving, I think that's when Rosicrucius will be still bare-chested, I'm sure. It just doesn't feel like wearing a shirt, but he will. Do you imagine that there's like one of those grand, not balustrades, what am I trying to say? Side rails for staircase. I can't think of.
Mister.
Thank you. Do you think there's kind of like a curving banister for the Hargrave House staircase?
I mean, of course, with the end cap being a carved wooden animal that represents the current monarch. Yes, of course there is.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, I think he will slide his butt down the banister in quite the fancy fashion, and just kind of leap off of the staircase and present himself to you with a bow. Ah, Whitmore, you said there was breakfast, yes?
Yes, there is, and it's still warm.
Ah, good man, good man. I and my cousin will be going out quite soon. I don't know if he's had his repast, but I definitely need some. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Whitmore would lead him into the dining area and cut a piece of quiche for Rasha Crucius and pour him a cup of tea.
I think
With-
as you're pouring the cup of tea, if you turn away from him for a second, he's going to take the rest of the quiche and eat it, leaving the piece on the plate, and then lick his fingertips. Ah, Usually I don't get that big of a slice because, well, so many family members, have to get in where you can. And, that was a hearty breakfast. Thank you very much.
Did you want some more, Whitmore would say, pulling out the emergency Rashicrucius quiche?
Oh, so tempting. And that is fresh, yes. He contemplates it as he, uses his other hand to down the tea. Still piping hot, so, yes. I think I will. And, he will have a little bit more. So,
Cut him half of the emergency quiche.
did you happen to have a chance to give Victor the note that I gave you?
Yes, I did. He came in already, and I was able to hand him the note.
Did he read it?
I don't tend to go through. Well, I only go through Lord Campbell-Hughes's mail. The others are perfectly capable of reading their own.
Ah, yes, yes. All right then. Thank you, good man. And then he will proceed to stuff half of that quiche into his maw, and just needs a little bit of wine. Any wine available? Something.
Red, white, sweet, tart.
Anything to get the edge off this hangover. It's a little bit blurry this morning.
Whitmore would pull out a sweet white wine and pour half the bottle into a bowl, and then hand the rest of the bottle to Rashicrucius.
And he will heartily drink it, for sure. Alrighty. So, let's go ahead and start with Lord Campbell-Hughes over at REC. So, you're going to seek out Sir Anthony first, I imagine? Yeah, I mean, nothing has changed in his study/office. You see the books piled on the floor. You see them kind of haphazardly, like on the shelves. However, that one shelf that seemed to have the mirrors, like, behind the books, he has replaced those books and even more books stacked in front of those mirrors that you saw. So, and he again welcomes you. His very night black eyes will blink as you come into his office. Lord Campbell-Hughes, what can I do for you this fine morning?
Sir Anthony, a couple of things possibly, but there's something I'd like to do for you.
Do for me?
It's confirmed. Titania walks amongst the mere mortals of this realm.
Huh.
It's true. I've spoken with her, and she's here in London. So, word to the wise. At some point, we'll have to tell Her Royal Majesty the Queen. But before then, are you familiar with a Madame Sorokin, who's a sort of a medium who does seances and things like that?
Only by word of mouth. I mean, you can only go by so much, yes? I mean, she's conducting seances for some of the more resourced of the nobility, and she also has... Oh, wait. That's what he was on about. Huh. He will immediately go to one of his books underneath a stack of papers, somewhere on his desk. You don't know how he found it, but he did. Are you aware, Lord Campbell-Hughes, that she is purported to have this, and it is a plate, and hand-illustrated plate in this book, of what looks like gilded, ornately framed mirror. This is the St. Petersburg mirror. Supposedly, one of the Russian embassy, I believe, had actually given it to Madame Sorokin. If that is correct, she may have, well, a complete and utter hoax, or she could have quite the powerful occult artifact. Have you seen it yourself?
No, but it does appear as though Madame Sorokin either on her own free will or is being duped, is actually an operative for the Russians.
You think?
Oh yes, yes, yes. There's some there's been some confirmed cases of blackmail with some of our very own civil servants that work with classified materials.
Do you think that they are using the mirror in some way towards
I have
this?
no idea. That's why I'm here to talk with you. What is the mirror? What does it do? And if it is the real artifact, what can you tell me about it? How would I know if it's real or just some sham?
Yes. If the stories are to be believed, and he flips through this book, and this is where, if the camera was panning through the pages, then you start hearing the voiceover. The St. Petersburg mirror was made about 30 years ago. It was used by using some strange metals left by some meteor shower over the city of St. Petersburg. The Andromedid meteor. It looks like this. A gilt-framed mirror with slight iridescent sheen on it to its reflective surface, and the background is deeper and darker. And with those that may be sensitive, it could exert some strange pull. Some might call it a passageway. Some might call it a communication device. But whatever it is, we'd have to ascertain whether it is truly the real thing or something that she has somehow engineered to be like, but it is not. There is a cultural attaché from the Russian embassy, Count Vasily Orlov. My sources have said that he was the one that gave the mirror to Madame Sorokin. He's running some sort of artistic endeavors somewhere in the creative quarter. But yes. Let me see if I can If you don't mind, Lord Campbell-Hughes, I might need to do a little ritual of my own to see if I can find out anything by not usual means. And he gives you like this meaningful look.
No, you go right ahead. I would hate for this, if this is the real mirror, I would hate for it to fall in the hands of Titania and her minions. I would rather it be safe and sound in Hargrave House, where we can utilize it to combat the darkness.
Yes, that could be if it is truly the St. Petersburg mirror, that could be too powerful an artifact to have in even frivolous hands. It could also be connected somehow to this blackmail Even if it is not the St. Petersburg mirror, if Madame Sorokin has any innate talent of her own, she might be able to use this towards spying, using
Can't
occult
have that, old
means.
boy. You do what you have to do with your sinister secrets of the dark arts. While I'll be here at the REC for most of the day. I'm gonna go meet with our old pal General Herod. We'll see what I can get him to help me with Titania, while you see what you can do with this St. Petersburg mirror.
Yes. Yeah, so go ahead and mark that box on your grand game thing. And then you get 2 clues. So I'm going to go over to someone else, and then I will, when we return back to you, I'll give you 2 clues. All right? Because I don't think you have to... Do you have to roll on that one? I forget.
No,
Grand game.
it just says Sir Anthony is all about the occult and paranormal, and the keeper reveals two relevant clues when he advises on such matters.
Okay. Just marking a checkbox. Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool. Wonderful. All right, let's go ahead and go over to Victor. And, of course, with Rosicrucius. All right. So you're heading over to 3 Mills Island, and he will give you, as you're heading over there, I think he's going to give you some askance looks. But then he will also kind of do his own mystical passes, I guess, because he is more like magically inclined than you are. And he will say, "Do you hear it? I mean, in all seriousness, I'm not.
Yes. No.
I hear as if there's like some sort of humming babble, or babbling hum from out there, up
Yes.
there. Do you hear it?"
Cousin, you've always been the one more attuned to the otherworldly. I have a sense that there is something out of place here, but until it makes its first move, you will be our best guide while we are here.
I can only hope that's the case. You do know you have the resource at Hargrave House, yes? I mean,
Yes.
that almanac of the Hyades. It has some of this information. It has.
Yeah, it looked really weird. I didn't want to read it.
You were never one to look through the arcane text, were you?
Yes.
Some of it has great information about some of the creatures we hunt.
You still didn't tell me what this. He takes out the vial of the saint's finger and a bone and chain. What this does? You gave this to me one time, and you're like, you'll know when to use it. I'm like, I still don't know what this is for.
Well, it's not time to use it, is it?
I guess. All right.
If I
Okay.
tell you, he's being extremely
Okay.
serious. He's not.
Yes.
He's not being a shithead
Yes.
like he
Yeah.
normally
No.
is.
Yeah. He's just. Yeah, all right. I guess I'll know when I know.
Yes.
But I guess you're gonna do your investigation. I'll be looking into the bodies. I think there's a mortuary nearby.
Yes. So
Mhm.
you just so you have an idea, like you will see like the mills that make up the 3 Mills Island.
Mhm.
Each mill is freshly painted a different solid color. And there's still a heady smell of something processed coming from the mills and the water itself. Paint the scene, and this is just to make sure that we introduce this. The mills on 3 Mills Island are constantly changing ownership. New owners frequently change the function of the mills. What do the smells and noises make you suspect at least one of the mills is doing right now? And this is for everyone. What do the smells and noises make you suspect at least one of the mills is doing right now?
I'm going to say one of them is a tannery, and that's from the horrible smell from the chemicals used to treat the leather. Sounds, I can't really think of anything else. I think I'm just going to go with the smell of treating the leather, and then all the byproducts are just dumped into the water.
As far as sounds go, you'd hear the pained labors of people, the gentle groans of displeasure and discomfort. The workers at the mill need to eat. Meat pies are a good favorite amongst the workers for having both a solid bit of meat in them and some nice vegetables. No one's ever asked why they don't see any pigs or cattle or lambs being brought to the island. And they really, really should.
I think there's one mill that Victor looks like squints his eyes at it because there's no smell of like something a tradesperson would use. Like there's a tannery, there's the weird meat place. Those are pretty normal for the most part. But this one smells of incense. It smells of like spice, but spice that you won't normally find here in London or anywhere nearby this continent, really. He smelled this in other places he's been, and it feels weird of like, why would it be here right now?
In smelling this, Victor, do you think that you continue onward to the mortuary, or do you go with Rosicrucius as you are curious?
No, I think Victor trusts Rosicrucius enough to trust his expertise in this area. At least both of them are like fully in like monster hunting mode now, so they're just like both incredibly like professional at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So he will go to the mortuary, as he said.
Okay. Yeah, the Stratford mortuary. Very succinct. Cold, clean, dry. Paint the scene for everyone. What about this place makes you think experiments are happening after hours?
I think there's like half finished loaves of bread, like half drunken cups of tea that are like extremely cold. Like they've been there like since the previous day into the night.
There's a grad student just kind of there in the corner, head down on a desk in front of some beakers and vials bubbling away. And he just keeps muttering about his control variable not being in the right place and how he can't get this experiment to be significant. And he just keeps muttering on and on about different scientific methods that keep failing him. Finally, he just drops something and it doesn't fall. Gravity just stops for a quick second. He looks at it and says, "Now," before putting his head back in his hands.
So paint the scene. What about this place, the cold, clean, dry mortuary, makes you think experiments are happening after hours? And if you don't have anything, Lord Campbell-Hughes, that's fine.
I'm gonna go with not knowing what everybody else said. I apologize. I had to take a phone call. I'm gonna say there's some bags with like suspicious lumps in them that are leaking suspicious fluids, and they're kind of like dated. There's like a handwritten date on these burlap bags.
Yeah, so with the mortuary, you see these things, you hear these things. Do you go in to look for somebody to talk to, or you just look around yourself?
I think unless Victor is stopped, he'll just head to the try to like just find the bodies.
There is
Hmm.
Jeffrey McKinney. Uh, Saggy jowls, pressed clothes, pale powdered complexion. And he kind of looks up from what he's doing. He's immaculate. Like his clothes again are pressed and very, very clean. And so he is quite proud as he, you know, uh, approaches you and says, "Yes, I am Jeffrey McKinney. I work here. What can I do for you?"
Hello, I
Yes.
am Victor Armstrong of Hargrave House. Um, I've been told that there are bodies here that from the recent um, deaths.
Oh, yes. Mm.
Can I see them or?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I was a little
Hmm.
bit preoccupied. I mean, I was just contemplating how some people don't seem to mind letting the body of a loved one rot in their home before putting it in the ground. Yes, this is better. The work that we do here at the mortuary, it's safer. It's cleaner. No miasma to be concerned about around here. No, no,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely not.
And you work with the bodies, you help with the processing, or?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean,
Mm.
I was recruited by the chemist who works with, of course, the chemicals here.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm quite proud to be helping clean up the city. I mean, it's bad enough with the tannery out there, of course, like creating its own processes.
Yeah,
Ugh.
the
But
meat pie
anyway,
smelled good. Yeah, all right.
yes, absolutely. Let
They're
me,
good. Okay,
yeah, let me go ahead and show you where the bodies are.
all
Absolutely.
right. Thank you.
And yeah, he will take you into the back, and they've gone through like some sort of preparation, of course, and yeah, they still retain the color that they were when they were found. So yes, very monochromatic people indeed.
Mm-hmm.
One woman who's red. One person was a man that was perfectly purple, and two boys, all in green, and rigor mortis is keeping their hands locked together. Yeah.
Wow, they're really like I I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe I was like they were like painted or something, but they're really just that color.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's.
You
I
didn't
don't.
paint them, right? That wasn't
No,
no
they
no.
were
They
found this
came
way.
like this.
They were found this way. It's almost
You have any
natural
ideas? Yeah.
or unnatural. It was
Mm-hmm.
naturally unnatural
Yeah.
or unnaturally natural. It's. Let me have you roll
Mm-hmm.
information move with. If you're just doing talking, then we'll call it presence.
Yeah. I guess that's the reason if I'm just like there
Mm,
looking at them. Yeah.
true, could do that too. Yep.
Yeah. Um, I'll do reason
Mm-hmm.
and let me see here. I'll so many of my items aren't for investigation purposes, really.
They're for fighting.
Yeah, they are. I'll just roll this straight. Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't done it in a while.
Okay.
With a reason of 0, that will be a 5.
Yeah, I think at this point, then you will hear some banging on the door, on the outside door. And it's like, you'll hear, we know you're in there, Mr. McKinney. You need to come out and you need to give us another statement about the bodies you have in there. We've written about them already, but it's like there's rumors that there may be another body or two around 3 Mills that you haven't said anything about. Where's Hattie? Where's the chemist? And then Jeffrey looks at you kind of cross and just, it's the journalists again. Their penny rags have been fighting over this story over the past few days. If you're seen here, then they're going to accost you to see what you know.
Oh, that's fine. Do you need me to take care of them?
I think he takes in I mean, like, are your weapons visible?
No. They're like
Okay.
there's like small hatches like in his coat.
Okay.
But he does look like a person that can like fight. All like it's pretty clear what I do for a living.
Right. And I think
Yeah.
he kind of looks you up and down. It's like, when you say take care of them, you don't mean...
No, like unless they try to stab me. But usually
not?
reporters just ask questions.
Well, they
Hard
are
hitting sometimes, but
they are
not...
very they tend to be very pointed in their inquiry.
Yes,
for
very
sure.
sharp. Yes, but metaphorically this time. Yeah, I've grown up talking to these these kinds of professionals before. It's nothing new. Some of them are kind of nice.
These aren't. They will hound you, literally, for anything that you find or that you know, and they could, well, if you are here to find out anything, they could very well impede your progress to figuring this out.
It's fine.
Yeah. And yeah. So you're gonna have, if you truly want to keep running with this, it's going to be some tabloid journalists that are going to be accosting you if you go out there.
Yeah, I want to talk to the reporters. They seem fun.
Heading over to Whitmore. Whitmore, you are heading over to the Limehouse School. Okay. And let's see. Limehouse School is actually a workhouse. Filthy children all over the place. You see a frustrated mistress storming away from a group of girls not learning how to sew. They look more interested in gossiping among themselves. And as you come closer, there is the permeating smell of unwashed bodies. Paint the scene. Workhouses like this are where poor children are sent to be managed until they're old enough to be turned out. What signs of deprivation do you see? Paint the scene for everyone.
I'm going to say all the windows have been kind of bricked over and the light is very minimal, like just a candle here or there. And so they've been deprived of light.
About half the beds have mattresses. The rest are newspapers over springs.
I think there is like a shoe like cubby, and just based on all the things Whitmore is hearing. There definitely is more children than shoes.
I think as you approach Whitmore, I think you see like a very twittery individual, fidgety, wearing a brown three-piece suit, and as you approach, like you hear him like speaking like kind of low and trying to be authoritative to these children, but not wanting to really touch them. His voice starts off low. It's like, yes, yes, yes. I mean, why don't you go over there to Miss Hattie? I mean, like, see what she wants to do. No, 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 no. Don't. You don't need to touch me. It's fine. Just leave it alone. Go, go, go. Shoo, shoo. Oh, yes, sir. And he sees you, Whitmore, and kind of like shoos everybody else away, and then we'll approach. I am Lawrence Chesterfield. I am the headmaster here. You are?
You may call me Mr. Whitmore. And you're the headmaster?
Yes, yes, I am.
It does not seem, and no offense, sir, but it does not seem that you have a way with children.
Oh, well, I'm basically doing my duty to run the school and direct and manage those that do actually teach the children. Of course, we do good work here. I mean, we basically keep the children busy and industrious, and yes, teach them some skills. Yes.
Yes, all very good things. But I've come to speak to you about the unfortunate incident that occurred here earlier. And Whitmore would come in and whisper into his ear, the dead body.
Oh, huh.
I
see.
My employer's organization has been looking into this matter, along with Scotland Yard detectives, if you will. And I was wondering, as we've heard unfortunate rumors that all of the person that committed this crime may have been of below average stature. They were a shorter individual. We were simply ruling out all of the facts that there are a considerable number of children here. Do you happen to have any children that tend to sneak out in the evenings, perhaps don't go to church and speak to, and Whitmore would look up as he says this, speak to God as often as they should, that perhaps avoid eating all of their vegetables?
Oh, we uphold standards here, and as for the spiritual aspect, we have our local priest, or excuse me, our local minister, like come and speak catechism to the children. They have no need of leaving the premises. In fact, every evening we make sure that they are snug in their beds, and we lock the doors tight to make sure that no one can get out. Look, I hardly knew, I believe it's Charla Bell. She did some work with the children here from time to time. Some mending, some washing, teaching them how to do that sort of thing. But I never sat down and talked to the woman. But I certainly do not believe the ridiculous rumors that someone murdered her and drank her blood. That's absolutely preposterous.
Very fair. Thank you for your input, Director. Do you mind if it appears that gaggle of girls over there is improperly sewing? Do you mind if I correct them? It's an unfortunate grievance of mine that to see improperly done housework.
Interesting.
My employer, Lord Campbell-Hughes, keeps a very tight ship, and he would be amiss if I did not at least assist in the instruction of Her Majesty's future servants.
He will look around you and then see that the teacher in question has left her post, and the kids are just kind of like doing whatever. And so he will frown and he will go march over to where he sees her talking animatedly to maybe another teacher, like in the yard. Go ahead. Are you actually going to talk to them, or are you going to like kind of look at things as you go to do so?
My original intention was to gossip with the small children to see if they knew anything.
Oh, okay. You can do that too if you want.
But I imagine Whitmore would also keep his investigative eye open as he moves through the space, looking up to make sure there isn't space for a bat to say escape, which there probably is countless of.
Yeah, there's the three girls that you're approaching. They all look at you with kind of like some partially toothless smiles. You can't tell because if that's their age or because that's how they've come, and they're uniformly filthy. And as you approach, it's like they're, and it's like she had the nerve to say that, like, that we were supposed to do more of this useless sewing. I mean, like, look at this. It's a patch. She's waving like a patch of cloth. It's like, what is this going to do? It's going to fucking cover my ass. And then yeah, like the other ones are like kind of tittering at what she said, and waving their own patches, very poorly sewn as well. As you come up, oh, look here, here's a tough, sir. How do you do? And then they all like make shift to do some sort of curtsy bow thing that doesn't look like a curtsy or a bow.
Young lady, that particular patch isn't going to cover your arse, as you put it, at all, especially when it's sewed in like that. Give it here.
Ooh, the toff's going to do our work?
Whitmore would then sit down in one of the two small chairs with them. May I see your sleeve?
Fine, here. See.
And Whitmore would take her arm and begin sewing the patch into a bare spot on the sleeve, demonstrating how to sew the patch properly so that it actually stays.
Ooh, look at the fine stitches. Do you do needlework over by the fire, sir?
If I were to, it would certainly be better than what you could accomplish with it.
Oh, sharp words from, well. What are we going to do with this anyway? I mean, this is useless. They're just going to put us to work.
Being warm on a cold winter's day because you've patched your own coat is not useless. Being able to maintain oneself is an important part of daily life. And if you get good enough at it, you can gossip the entire time while doing it, and none of the teachers will scold you because you are, in fact, doing your work. Here, I can show you what is the latest rumor here?
Go ahead and roll information move with presence, please.
That is going to be a 10.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. All right. I am going to just go ahead and give you something right now. And yeah, they're going to introduce themselves as Sally and Jenny and Jane. And they start to pay attention as you like whip your stitches quite quickly and then add some of those patches to places where they don't feel the cold anymore. And as they are giving you the dish, I think they're going to say, well, if you must know, sir, there is this rumor of somewhere in the basement of the school, there's some kind of picture on the wall of this other place, and it looks like it has more than one son. We haven't seen it ourselves. It's like it's locked away. It's like in a room that you're not allowed in, and they lock this place up tight. Absolutely. Yeah, we can't even like sneak out of our beds. They even lock the door. Can you believe it?
Fortunately, I can.
Like as if there's anything worthy to steal. I mean, would be nice to go down to the pub and see, well, maybe getting a fine drink now and again, but I guess we're stuck here until we are of age and then they can turn us out. And that is your clue. A painted mural depicting the sons of another world. I'm gonna go and pop that into the clues. Let me head back to Lord Campbell-Hughes and then I will address going further. All right. So you are searching for clues for, remind me again, Lord Campbell-Hughes.
He was going to do
About
Sir
the
Anthony
mirror.
do something and come back to me about the St. Peter's mirror.
Okay. I think you'll see him sit at his desk, and he lights some kind of burner, and he starts to pull random papers from his desk, and he starts to burn them. He'll look off into the distance, he'll start writing on some of it, and then burn them. And it's almost like he's inhaling some of the scents from the paper and the words that he's written into his nostrils. You see the eyes go up into his head, where all you see are the whites of his eyes, and he tenses his fingertips onto his desk as if he's experiencing some sort of like connection from some other place. And he'll open his mouth, and then you hear issuing from his mouth a voice that is not his own. And he will say, "You seek a connection, something to say whether this is true or if it is false. Who's to say if the body that you see reflected is not your own, is not someone you know, or will be you in the future?" And his face even though it's not looking at you, will turn, and then you see on the other side of his office, you will see a small mirror on the wall that you didn't notice before, like a small oval, maybe about the size of your face. And if you like slowly take a look, as if to look into the mirror, I think you will see there is a body there. Instead of your own reflection, instead of Sir Antony's reflection, you'll see there is a depiction of a scene farther off where you see a body in front of the mirror, and the skin is pale, and as the body lifts its head towards you, as if hearing these words, you will see that the face is contorted, as if it's in some sort of pain, but you can't see any indication of why it's looking that way, why the face is like that. And then the other clue is his face will turn back to you without looking at you, and then without looking, he's still staring at you with those whites of his eyes. He will reach down into his desk drawer and pull out randomly something that he has in his hand, and he will put on the edge of his desk. See there, something that could indicate a hoax. And with his other hand, he will point to the mirror and say again, this is true, or this is false. And then that hand will move down to the item on the edge of his desk and go, this is true, or this is false. And when you look at it, the item looks like something that it has like a candle attachment to it, like where you could put a candle into it, and it kind of like has some sort of mirror, like at the size of a monocle attached, and then something to hold some kind of card or something in front of it, and then a hole in a metal plate further along, further into it. He shakes himself out of his self-induced trance and then looks down at what's on his desk and says, huh, that's quite strange. I had gotten that from a carnival baka years ago. It's something that they use to create the ghostly fantasy for one of their acts. Did I place that here?
Yes, and what about the mirror back here? Do you know any? Is that just a regular mirror, or is that from Russia?
Oh, that? I think I had gotten it as a present from, well, an old acquaintance. Could have been Russian. She was quite interesting in her own way. And he'll say like kind of a Russian phrase with a smile on his face that makes you think it's kind of like a little bit more intimate than just an acquaintance. Why, is that significant? Did I say something?
Just wondering. No, yeah. Anyways, we'll get this mirror sorted out one way or the other, Sir Anthony, and I'll make sure you have a look at it if we can capture. I'm thinking about doing maybe a smash and grab like we used to do in the old days to get artifacts. So this might be one of those times.
Well, be careful, because if it is a possible artifact, It. hmm. I'm not saying that they would necessarily be thinking things, but entities behind communication devices like that could possibly call upon otherworldly beings if handled too roughly or handled with little care. So, be warned.
Right, you are, old boy. I will keep you abreast of the situation.
Yes, please do. If you do manage to secure the mirror, I would be most interested in seeing it. Absolutely. And do you go and look for Lord,
General Herzog.
yeah, Journal
Mark.
Herzog mug? Yeah, I mean, if that's what you do, then, you can go and easily find him, I think. Let me see. Yeah. I think you can find him in the usual place. He is looking at the trophy room in the REC. Like any kind of trophies or plaques that each of the members of the REC have gotten over the years. And like old glories, old accolades. And he is there himself, kind of twirling the edge of his handlebar mustache, silver handlebar mustache, with his chest full of medals, and still in his officer's uniform, which is still ill-fitting. I don't think it's looked like it's fitted him since he dropped a lot of weight from a long time ago.
I give him a little quick salute and say, General, Hargrave House needs your services at last.
Ah, finally, you come to me. Expecting it. Expecting it. Well, how can I help you?
Well, we've had quite a few incursions into Hargrave House on Belgrave Square from entities from the Fey realm. And so we need your help to shore up our defenses so that there won't be able to, just walk in through mirrors or through the front door as they have been. And some of the minions of the Fae, they could be human or enchanted or glamored. So you know your business better than I, General, but I would formally request that you fortify Hargrave House to prevent from entering, to protect those who dwell there from the Fae and their agents.
Interesting. Are you still thinking about that incident that you were involved in years ago? Has that come back to haunt you?
It seems to have resurfaced as old regrets often do.
Yes, I understand about regrets. Well, do you require specialists or someone to just let me put it this way. Do you require specialists to set it and forget it? Or do you want security to make regular passes and rounds within or without Hargrave House's premises?
I would defer to your wisdom on this matter, General, but I would say it seems like they are more active at night and in the shadows. So whatever you think is best, sir.
I'm going to put a few of my best people on the case to help with securing Hargrave House. If you are, or if they are doing their job the way they are supposed to, you will not know that they are there. But you will see any kind of incursion that is attempted. So, just be aware, make your people aware at Hargrave House. We will have it well secured for the night time at the very least.
Excellent, sir. And I'll let you know when this threat has passed. And if not, you may have to help us fight in the streets of London as a darkness from the realm of shadow runs across the streets, killing women and children in their beds at night. You'll know, sir. You'll know.
May it not come to pass.
Not with your help.
God save the Queen.
God save the Queen.
And Victor. All right. So, are you truly marching out to meet the reporters, to meet the journalists?
Yeah, I think Victor kind of just like opens the door, like just like a smidge, just so she can't like get in. Kind of just like scoots out and closes the door behind him.
Yeah, I think you are being met by several individuals. Like maybe there's like one rather built fellow. Maybe there's another one that is quite thin and tall, and maybe there's like a squat but wiry, like, you know, person that's out there, and they are all like, you know, there with pads in hand and like, you know, getting ready to hang on to every word. Is it true? Is it true? Is there another body there? Who are you? What's your name?
Hello. Excuse me. You all are all very close to me at the moment. You could give me some room to breathe would be very nice.
Not if you have the story. We need to know, sir. What is your name? And we need to know if there's another body other than the ones that we had already put into the papers.
All right. My name is Victor Armstrong. Very nice to meet everyone here. You all seem to be very dedicated to your line of work, and that's very respectable.
And the big one will say, it's like, we thank you, but you haven't answered the question. Is there another body in the mortuary? And are we to expect more from whatever is threatening our island?
And just to be clear, there was just the three bodies we knew about, right? There wasn't any like new bodies in there when I was in there.
Rumors.
Oh wait, no,
Rumors.
I'm asking Mads.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
I mean, as far as I know, it's like, you know, still like, you know, just the three bodies so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
and so then Victor would just be like, no, only the ones that you all have reported on so far. No new bodies have been found. It would be pretty obvious if a new chartreuse one was gonna show up.
Why did you say chartreuse? What's the importance of chartreuse?
Chartreuse. It's a good, I don't know. I think it's a funny color as a name goes. Same with periwinkle. I could have also used Blue Mountain Majesty. It's also, but it seems to be more nothing that fancy. Chartreuse. It was just I just pulled a name out of thin air. It's nothing.
And they will all be like, they're all writing this stuff down, like chartreuse and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We have to know, just in case that there is a chartreuse or azure or whatever individual that might be out there, and we need to make sure that we have the scoop.
Well, I can give you my promise as an Armstrong. And my family has dealt with these kinds of things for like a while. It's a very long time. So
Armstrong.
yes.
And then, like, you know, like amongst the three of them, they're like, Armstrong. Armstrong, and they're all like, converging upon you. So the Armstrongs are now involved. What monster can we expect to be here?
The thing that most people don't know about being an Armstrong is that 9 times out of 10, no, like 19 times out of 20, we get pulled to places and it's just some guy in a mask.
That's not how it's told. We've seen some of the evidence of the monsters that the Armstrongs have actually caught or killed. So there must be something very significant about this case if there is an Armstrong involved.
Well, I will give you this reassurance that I will leave myself available to you, the press, and will keep you updated on anything that needs to be updated for the public to know.
And I'm going to say, give me a second. I think at this point, from behind them, you hear a familiar voice call out, "It's like, I found something! Cousin, come!"
Rosicrucius! We have press here.
It's
You love the press.
Rosicrucius!
Yes, it's the Rosicrucius.
And they're all, we have the Armstrongs here. There is something on this case. Ah! And then they are all like, gaggling around you, like they're like agog, like looking from Rosicrucius who's approaching, and then they're like looking back at you. We need to know what the scoop is, and we're not leaving you alone until we find out what it is. So they will be sticking with you, through any further investigations.
Yeah. Is it possible for me to activate my In Want of Privilege move?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, not in the sense of just like they'll I can't tell, like, not stop investigating, but to be like, because it's like when you leverage your family's name in order to give information or assistance. I guess the assistance here is them being just like, hey, I will give you updates and you will let us do our job, kind of deal, instead of like, yeah.
Sure, like go ahead and roll on this one because this is a particular move of yours. Yes.
Yes.
You're gonna roll with presence. Yep.
All right. I will.
And I will even give you advantage because Rosicrucius is there, so.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. There's actually a family member here with me. All right.
Yep.
Let's see. Still bad.
How?
That is
How?
a 1, a 2, and a 3, Mads. So that is a 5. Plus 1 takes me to a 6.
Will you frickin' throw out those dice, please, God?
Yeah, I swear I was digital last week. I was like, you know what? I'll try the physical this time.
You didn't.
Let's go back to my roots.
First of all, it's like you didn't sweet talk your dice roller, and second of all, it's like you probably didn't warm up these physical dice.
No, yeah, but you can describe what happens, and I will see. I'll probably put on the mask, but you can describe, yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, I think what's gonna happen is, oh boy. Let me see. Hold on. God damn it. In Want of Privilege. Leverage family's name. Okay, so not history. Oh, okay. All right. I think what happens is it's like, when they hear that Rosicrucius is involved, it's like they're going to in general, they're going to say, look back at the both of you and say, is there any truth to the rumor about a possible curse on the Armstrongs? How do we know that these stories of sensationalized in the adventure novels are actually true? Who's to say that it isn't an Armstrong that's just suffering from much hyperbole.
I will put on the mask of comedy.
Okay. So, Victor, Mask of Comedy. Let me go ahead and read that off. Give me a second.
It's in my personal quarters.
Oh, okay, got it. Go ahead. Yeah, that's right. It's not a threat mask anymore. Okay. So basically, when you do it, please go ahead and say what the prompt is and then narrate it. You can wait until dusk phase or the next dawn phase to do it. Okay. But yes, Mask of Comedy for Victor, and that brings you up to 7 to 9.
Yes.
And then let me read off that. 7 to 9. The person has a history with your family and will help you for the remainder of the phase. And any information that they give can be in the form of a clue.
Oh, that's the... Okay, yeah.
Okay, but they will require something in return. All right, so... man. What they're going to ask you to do, or let's see. We will let you know what we found out so far. Maybe there's a little bit of a tidbit that we hadn't put into the paper because it's just so outrageous. Ooh. However, you will let us accompany you as you investigate while you're here. We're here, you're here, and we can say that we are getting it straight from the monster hunter's mouth, from the Armstrongs.
I think Victor will say that would be completely fine with me. Cousin, how do you feel about having reporters following us around, journaling our every adventure and action and deed?
Oh, his smile goes from ear to ear. It sounds absolutely wonderful. It's like those authors that used to follow us around, but they got a little too close. So perhaps that you all would want
zone.
to. Yes, you may want to keep your distance just enough to see what we're doing, observe, and write up like our workflow. But yes, you may not want to get too close just in case you, get in the way of our weapons. Yes. Friendly fire isn't, as we know.
The Armstrongs have documents for certain liability things, and if you all are open to just having those signed, that's completely fine with us then.
They will look at each other, give a very hesitant nod, and then say, "Oh, let's see. We can tell you, sirs, that one of the things that was not printed in the latest about this case was that there was a handwritten note on one of the people that was found. And it was actually attached to a newspaper on them. And it said, next purple, then 3 orange, and then bone. And they whisper this to you in hushed tones. Why do I keep putting it in the wrong place? I apologize. Let me put this over here. There we go. All right. So again, the clue is a bit of newspaper rag on the monochromatic men with a handwritten note. Next purple, then 3 orange, then bone.
So no periwinkle then?
No periwinkle.
Chartreuse?
No. Which is why we were curious when you started to say that. We wanted to find out if you had any other information, like you maybe found a note. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to working alongside you all then.
And we look forward to, as they're clutching their notebooks, we look forward to following you two around and seeing what you find out.
Mhm.
So we can find out and then put it in our paper.
Perfect. And yes, to spend time with your families, and will you meet us later?
Oh no, we're following you now.
Oh, now. All
Everywhere
right.
you go. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Would you
And
like
then, go
that
ahead.
that condition, do you think, Mads? Like
Yes.
having, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Gaggle of reporters.
gaggle reporters.
Gaggle of reporters. Yep.
Nice.
Give me a second. All right, and Whitmore. All right. So yes, you've spoken with Sally, Jenny, and Jane, and they introduce themselves to you, and in spite of themselves, they are quite taken with the fact that you've been helping them with, you know, patching them up, and telling you what they told you, and hold on, let me see, and yeah, I think by the point that you finish doing this with them, do you think you, excuse me, talk with them further, or do you think you will uh, do a little bit more observation rather than talking?
I think
See
Whitmore
if
would
you
do
can
it.
see anything else.
I think Whitmore would. You know what? Whitmore's going to the basement. It is the daytime, so the vampire will be asleep if the vampire's in the basement.
Sure.
B, worst comes to worst. Oh well.
Well, I admire your bravery, sir.
It was such a good clue that these girls gave that there's something in the basement.
Yes.
Whitmore is here. It is the daytime. Vampires traditionally sleep. We gotta check out the basement.
Sure. Okay.
I don't like the way you said sure.
What? What could go wrong? We'll find out.
Everything.
Right. Okay. So if you're going to head down to the basement, I'm going to say, oh, a day move, for sure. Definitely definitely risking body,
100%.
because you don't know. I mean, who knows? And yeah, what do you think will go wrong?
So there's the mundane that would happen of me being found out by one of the faculty members and being kicked out of the school, halting our investigation.
Yeah.
Or there is the supernatural of the vampire is actually awake. I think we have to go with something in the basement. There's something in the basement that shouldn't be there.
Okay.
And that thing, person or thing, notices Whitmore.
Okay.
I would, in this case, I'd like to use my key because the basement is for personal quarters item.
Okay.
I have a key,
Mm-hmm.
and we've mentioned that the basement is locked.
Mm-hmm.
It could happen to be a key for this lock.
Okay. So 3d6. Take the two highest. Wait, hold on. Let me just check something. You have one remaining condition. What is it? I don't remember.
Otherworldly
Hmm.
surveillance.
Do you think you are rolling on composure for this? If you don't think so, you need to parlay me what you think it is, what other stat you think it is.
So it's either composure or sensitivity, but I feel like it's got to be composure, given that Whitmore just knows that there's a painting down here, and not so much that there's actually something down here supernatural.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Yeah, because I was gonna get you slapped with that thing if it was gonna be an issue. So yeah, 3d6. Take the two highest plus composure. All right, because you're using the key.
Only it was an investigation move. That's a 12.
Oh, nice. Okay. However, that could still be good. Let's see. Day move 12 plus. You do what you intended, and you hold steady. Keeper will tell you some extra benefit or advantage you receive. Describe what it looks like. Alrighty. Okay. So yes, you do what you intended. This key works. You make your way to the basement with no trouble. Like there's no interference from like a passing staff member or Mr. Chesterfield or anything like that. And you slip down into the basement. It is very. What light source do you have? It is fucking dark down here.
Ooh. Don't believe Whitmore usually carries a light source with him. Um, I imagine that on his way down, he'd probably find an oil lantern, probably from one of the teachers that patrols the school at night.
Okay. Okay. All right. I mean, and even with the lantern, I think you will see that it's very hard to see. It's very dim. It's almost as if the shadows are starting to swallow up what little light is coming from the lantern. But you make your way downstairs, kind of rickety stairs that seem to just get swallowed up by this darkness. But your feet do touch ground. It actually feels like stone. And you make your way through this basement, which doesn't look like it belongs here, as if it's unfinished, and it looks larger than could possibly be indicated. And through the low ceiling of the initial part of it, it opens up where somehow it is high, cave-like, and you are looking up into further darkness that you can't like see the top of. And then when you look further down, which looks like a long hallway, I think you will see further down that, or further along, you'll see the mural that's painted on the wall. It looks like in shades of brown is depicting a horizon line with maybe mountains in the distance and then more than one sun. And you can tell it's more than one sun because there's like, radiating rays coming from each of the orbs that are drawn. And the rays are kind of intersecting each other depending on how close the suns are to each other. And that is what you see as you are here. And I'm going to say that not by the mural, but before you will reach the mural, you see a dark shape on the ground. It is kind of rectangular. And I'm going to say that this shape, when you get closer to it, looks like it's a book. Do you pick it up?
You're asking Whitmore if he picks up a book. The answer is yes.
Look now, I gotta make
No,
sure, all right?
I'm aware, but Whitmore sees a book, Whitmore picks up the book.
All right, well, Whitmore's going to be upset about this book because it is a Bible. And when you flip through it, Whitmore, you will see that this Bible has some pages has some pages torn out. Specifically, the section telling the story of Noah and the ark. Those pages, that story has been ripped out of this Bible.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that at this point, for funsies,
Mm-hmm.
that your lantern splutters out.
I, the human, am confused why that particular story is the one that's ripped out. Because it feels like there have to be better passages. But Whitmore would very quickly make a cross on him as the lantern sputters out.
And we were going to end there tonight. I mean, we'll continue on with day phase, of course, for next time. But I wanted to end on a fun note. Fun for me, anyway. I don't know about Whitmore. So yeah, let's just go ahead and we're gonna close out of that. Yeah. So Victor owes Mask of Comedy. Bob will owe Mask of the Past. I'm gonna say that, like, we'll hand wave it as Doc sleeping off more than enough of a hangover, probably 3 times as much as Rosicrucius did. And yeah, he will rejoin you hopefully next time. Okay? So, given that, let me just make sure that we have all the clues. We now have 9 clues for St. Petersburg Mirror. Limehouse Lurker now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 clues on a 4 complexity. And then for the Monochromatic Men of 3 Mills Island, you now have 5 clues towards, the 6 or the 8, depending on how you want to resolve the threat. All right, so given that, and then I think, let me see. Yep, Doc still has a condition. Lord Campbell-Hughes has a condition still. So does Whitmore, and now Victor has 2. Okay, so again, we will continue with day phase next time, and just want to do a quick debrief, like, stars and wishes. Stars, of course, what you liked about the gameplay, each other, role play, the game, and then of course wishes are what you'd like to see for next time or the future, in case I forgot from previous wishes. Okay.
I've got some.
Yeah.
I got stars for everybody.
Mm.
With all the scenes with Melody. With Mads, I was getting like this real romantic comedy vibe with Melody, and with Whitmore looking out for her, and the nude Rosicrucius in the house, and Victor doing the whole. So it was a good date, and that whole Melody scene was awesome, and all 3 of you took part in that. I really liked Whitmore's questioning the headmaster about trying to figure out which kid's the vampire. Do they not go to church? Do they sneak out at night? Do they have fangs? So star there, and also getting the his strategy to get the little girls to gossip. And I missed star for this. This both goes to Mads and Paul with your scenes with Victor and Rosicrucius. But I missed the session where that character was introduced, and so I really don't know. I really don't have any idea who this guy is, other than the cousin and an Armstrong. But I don't know how he came into the game. But a star for the way that you guys are playing that.
Yeah, it was like for the Monochromatic Men, the question was, to me, it was like, how do I know that this is like a real story? And my answer to that question was, because Rosicrucius is in town, because it wouldn't be real unless, like, if he's here, it has to be like legit.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, big star for Mads for playing into that. That's awesome.
I spoke, so I can do some stars. Star for Mads for being like really good annoying children. That was really fun. Like, it took me back to like working at the after school program, and I was like, yeah, I'm feeling things that I guess I've forgotten about annoying kids. It was really good. Dr. Daniel and Jeremy, your masks are always so good. Jeremy was like, I play music when like we play games, so like I had like my happy music when you were doing your thing with your like wife, and it fit very perfectly with that. Thank you for that. And like, yeah, the cool story about, like, it's really cool to see like the when the story of the explorer goes from like they're like, oh my god, it's like people from another world, and now they're like, oh, they stole stuff. I don't think it's as good anymore. It's not. This is bad. I think this is actually bad. And seeing that turn is really fun. Star also for Jeremy for like the cool autobiography idea. It's been like it's like because we play this game to like find out, but like looking like now in like hindsight, it's like, oh, this is always where it was going. Like he wants to like write his own like cool adventure novel. And then for Daniel, the line of just like, oh, well, let's do a smash and grab. And I'm like, ah, yes, the very very British thing to do. It was super funny. And yeah, still kudos to Melody as always. It's always fun because like in this game, usually the Factotum is like the mundane normal character, but then you put someone even more mundane into the situation, so you can like see like how like, oh no, we are all like weird and not like regular members of society. And even like the person just follows along all the weird people, like that's not the most normal thing either. So it's cool to see that also as like to like mirror us. Oh, wishes. Yeah, I guess like yeah, seeing my fiance. I mean I put that in the game always. So I knew that was gonna come up. But oh yeah, another cool star is like that scene in Rosicrucius, because I know I can't talk about my past unless someone legitimately asks me the question. So I'm just like, how do I play this scene without revealing anything really? Besides, so I was like, no, dude, it's complicated. I can't tell you. It's weird. It's weird right now. So yeah, that was also fun. And Wish, yeah, more Ross, and like seeing everyone. It seems like we're gonna like resolve a lot of mysteries pretty soon, so it's gonna be cool to see those resolved. Yeah.
So stars all around. This was once again a fantastic session, but a couple of call outs. Paul, everything before before we went on our own separate ways when we were all together at Hargrave House. If you look back on this recording, I'm going to be grinning and clapping like a fool, because that was just a treat to see, to continue to see more of Victor's sensitive side. Mads, a star for the incredible vocal range that you had this session, going from schoolgirls to the general to a horde of reporters, just scene after scene after scene with essentially no downtime, was great to see. And then Daniel, the fact that Lord Campbell-Hughes slots in so perfectly into the RAC every single time, regardless of who he's talking to, regardless of the activity, it very much feels like you actually live at the RAC and just happen to sleep at Hargrave House on occasion. And then as far as wishes, to pull one that we joked about in the chat, given that both Whitmore and Lord Campbell-Hughes have reason to go see Count Olaf, I think going to see Count Olaf at night or during a night phase, potentially to resolve the threat, maybe not, we'll see, would definitely be fantastic. And while this one is very much outside of Mad's control, a wish to have Whitmore do a vulnerable move, or technically Victor doing a vulnerable move with Whitmore, just so that I can ask you specifically about your fiance.
Oh man, again, I agree with all the stars. Such a great episode. I mean, like, you guys afford me such a great always great opportunities to really get on my bullshit, because I mean, like, I love acting all of these NPCs, but even more so again with Darkened Mirrors than the other two campaigns for whatever reason. And it's just so much fun. You guys are like, I mean, just want to again keep giving you these characters that you're responding to, and you're responding so well. I mean, regardless of the whole like can't mention my past and whatever, but I mean, like, I think these NPCs are starting to get a life of their own, and it's like I am throwing it out and seeing what you're actually going to say yes and to, you know? I mean, a lot of the improv skill is, of course, it's like, yes and, but I mean also like, It could also be yes and then what, right? And then you don't have to necessarily respond to that. You can totally like, block the NPCs or side characters from doing more things or what have you, or being as involved as they are. And again, there's always safety tools if you're really worried about them taking too much time with all these things that are happening. And I mean, yeah, I just getting back to stars. I mean, like, I can appreciate everybody's engagement with this stuff. I mean, like, you guys are your characters when you are in the game, and it's just wonderful to respond to you. It's just awesome. I mean, I have trouble like, doing some specifics because of course it's like I'm, you know, running and responding. But I will say that one of my wishes is to definitely get more give more opportunities to you, like, try to look closer at whatever dawn questions that you guys have, and then try to help you enact more of them towards whatever you want to do. And this is not a wish, but this is just a reminder. There's 5 mastermind clues on the board. This is usually, for those that know, this is usually the layer that one of these threats could possibly become a servant of the mastermind. So my wish is to figure out which one is going to be the servant. I can't wait to figure that out. And what that means is that you can no longer resolve that threat. And yeah, so we'll have to see. And there's some things to figure out too by next time. So like if you get through further day phase, or we cut off day phase after just a couple of scenes, and you decide to answer a question, that's perfectly fine. And then we'll see how you resolve, if you can resolve whatever threat you pick. All right. So I'm excited to see that for wishes. And yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I'm not sure if you do resolve the next threat. It's like exactly what's coming down the pike. It depends on which one you solve next, leading into what will be the new threat, I think. Yeah. I think I have a decision made, but then I changed my mind just before we do it. So, exciting stuff. So if there's nothing else, I think I've covered like, what needs to happen for next time. If there's nothing else, then we're going to end the session for tonight. Happy gaming if I don't see you guys for anything else in the coming weeks. And yeah, we'll be having the gang all back together hopefully for next time. All right. And thank you guys again so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right. So see you guys. Thank you.